What's up? Matt here from Urchfab. Today's video is going to be showing you how to find the perfect settings for your Mig welder. Right, so basically the two functions you're going to be worrying about are wire feed speed and voltage. So that's your voltage is like up and down power of the machine, like the max to the minimum power of the machine, and then you've got to find the wire feed speed to match each like increment of power. So some machines will have like a stepped voltage, so you might have like 4 settings, you might have 8, and then for each of those 8 settings you'll have like that sweet spot on the wire feed speed where it's perfect for that setting. It's a pretty common phrase, people talk about it sounding like frying bacon when you get it set right, which I think it kind of does sound like that even if you don't get it right, but what you're looking for is like a real consistent crackle, not like if it's inconsistently popping and banging, then that's not right. If you think of sort of like your puddle, your weld puddle, which is what you're looking at, that is the frying pan. So that is like, you got your frying pan and you got your voltage knob. Your voltage is turning the frying pan up and down. Your wire feed is a bacon going into the frying pan. Sausage, it's like a sausage. You're constantly feeding some sausage into a frying pan. So if you got your frying pan and your frying pan's too cold and you're ploughing loads of sausage into there really fast, it's just not going to cook in time, and you're going to get like this big old pile of raw sausage. If you've got your frying pan like way too hot and you're just feeding sausage in real slow, just going to burn it all up and make a mess. So you're basically balancing the heat of the frying pan to the rate of the sausage going in, so that as it's going in there, it's just cooking perfectly. And that is basically all you're doing. You're balancing your heat. So your voltage setting is the heat of your puddle, your wire feed, wire going in, sausage going into the pan, cooking up nicely, and that's it, easy as that. And then obviously for different thicknesses of material, if you're trying to weld something like 5 or 6 mil, obviously you need more heat, because the puddle is not just it's not just melting the wire going in, you're actually melting the base metal as well that you're welding to. So if it's too cold, you could be melting your wire. You could have it set perfectly so it's melting the wire nicely, but you'll just weld on top of the base metal. So you've got some 5 mil thick plate with the welder set up sweet, so it's running nicely and smooth, but you haven't got the puddle's not hot enough, so your voltage isn't up high enough. So that's why you'll have, like, say you've got 5 increments on your voltage setting. As you go up through those, your wire feed speed's going to increase, and also those voltage settings are going to be relevant to whatever you're trying to weld. So from thin up to whatever the maximum your welder can do. So hopefully that simplifies it a little bit. Let's have a look at the welder we're going to use, which is an old one, real basic, just nothing flash on it, and yeah, let's do that. Alright, this is what we're using. Really basic and simple, on off, wire feed speed. It's your symbol for your wire feed, 2 rollers with the wire coming through it. And down here you've got your voltage, which is in sort of set increments, so it's switched. You got 8 settings. So for each one of these settings, whichever one you're on, there's going to be an ideal wire feed speed for that setting. So that's the heat of your frying pan, this is the heat of your puddle, if you like, and this is your speed of the sausage going into the pan. That's the sausage velocity knob. And we got spot continuous. Obviously that's set to continuous if you've got this. That's just for spot welding, but we're not really getting into that now. Right, so I'm going to weld some 3mm. So I'm just, for now, saying I didn't know what was what at all, I'll just take an educated guess as to the level of voltage based on the fact that, say, the minimum is really thin material, say 1, all the way up to sort of, say that was 10mm. I'm going to guess that 3mm is going to be around there, just to hazard a guess. And then wire feed speed, set that to halfway, and just try and weld something, and then we can have a look at that weld and then see, based on what it looks like, which way we need to go with either of these. So that is basically way too much wire feed. You can see it's all just balled up. It hasn't had time to actually melt into the metal at all. It's all just sat on top. So I set this to halfway, which is obviously way too high for what setting we were on down there. So I'd say we could take this down probably all the way down to around 6. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it right the way down, so we'll see what the opposite end of the scale looks like, and then we'll work our way up until we end up with something that looks decent. Yeah, so as you can see, that's kind of the opposite of what this one over here was. It's all sat up on top, just a big clump of molten wire, which you could probably hear it sort of spluttering, but as it was arcing across the metal, the wire was like burning back up to the tip every time, and then the wire would have to come back down to meet the metal, and it was burning up away back to the tip. So it was so slow that it wasn't even continuously touching the metal. It was sort of burning back and then coming down, touching again, and you were getting like this really sort of delayed stutter sound. So we've gone from 10. So we've gone from 10 down to 4 on the wire feed. Still at the same on the voltage. So we're going to go somewhere in between the middle. We'll try 6, and we'll just see what sort of sound we get. So you can probably hear the difference in the sound of all those different welds there. The last one being a lot smoother. So if you're looking at the top left, you need to lower your wire feed speed. If you're looking at the top right there, then you need to raise it up. And that's not... That one there is not far off really. That's a piece of 3mm welded to a piece of 1.5, and that's actually like, you know, that's pretty decent. So if I was welding 3mm to 3mm, I'd definitely be wanting to crank that up on the voltage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crank the voltage up. I'm going to leave the wire feed so we can see what it looks like with the wire feed a bit low, and then we're going to increase the wire feed until we get it smooth again. Alright, so that's we've come up one click on the voltage, and you can see it's kind of like concaved the edge of the weld at the end there. So that's a sign that the wire feed speed there is a bit low. And you can see it's sort of taken the top corner off of the piece of plate there, so it's hot enough, definitely got the heat there. You can see it's sort of like wetted in nicely in the corners of it, but just a little bit more wire feed and that should be sweet. Crank the wire feed speed up. I'm going to try 7. You can sort of see that's the second one there where I've just cranked the wire feed speed up, and it's just got a better shape to it, looks a bit more consistent, and it doesn't have that concaved look to it, and it's noticeably smoother when I was actually welding with it. And you could hear the difference, and you can see the difference, but you know, you get away with either of them really, but the second one definitely what you want to be aiming for. So now I'm going to crank the wire feed speed up again. Right, so I'm sure you could probably hear the difference in that one. So I've cranked the wire feed speed up another notch, and you can see that the weld is physically like balling up. You can see it's taller than the other two, and you can see how the second one looks nice and uniform. The third one is concaved in. This third one is raised up and sort of balling up, and when it was going in there it was stuttering more. It wasn't like smooth while I was actually running it. So let's go up another notch, see what that looks like. Right, that one you can really see now where it's starting to ball up, almost look like it's stuck on top. It is definitely got the heat there. You could hear the difference in it, and also like obviously you can definitely see the difference in it. I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to turn the wire feed speed right down again. To sum it up then, we've got voltage has stayed the same on all of these, but we've changed the wire feed speed going from obviously the extreme end of it of too little wire feed speed here, too much, so it's all burnt in and it's burning back to the nozzle. You need to turn your wire feed speed up. If it's all bunching up like that, you've got a real like bulged out weld, you need to turn your wire feed speed down. This one you're getting nearer, but it's got a concaved look to it, a little bit sort of stuttery while you're welding. This one is about where you want to be. It went in there really smooth, the welder sounded nice when it was doing it. That is a nice little bit of a sausage there, perfectly cooked sausage. This one bunched up a bit, but it's going to do the job. Right, so on this one I'm showing you the difference in the voltage. So way too low volts for this, it's just sat on top of there, it's not burnt into it at all. And then obviously this end is the highest one we did. This was, I think that was actually maxed out. So you can see that's burnt in, could probably go hotter again. And obviously if we did a test on a piece of something really thin, like this 1 mil, if you tried to weld this 1 mil with a setting that high, you would just burn holes, it would just blow holes in it. So if you're burning through whatever it is you're trying to weld, your voltage is obviously too high. And then sort of as a rule of thumb, you want to really go as hot as you can without burning through. So that would be my advice. And that's all I got for this video. So thanks for watching. You can check out my other videos if you want to see some techniques on practicing for actually running the welds. Once you've got that worked out, go check them out, and see you next time. Cheers.